In just 1.5 years, I helped my client Thorsten Kreuz to scale from $60,000 to over $600,000 per month in sales by hitting 3 key factors when it comes to their sales and marketing strategy. If you click on this video, you'll actually be able to see where he testifies about the results we received, but that video is about him praising my work. What I want to do in this video is actually show you the 3 key stages that we had to go through and how we worked on their offers and their marketing and their sales strategy to be able to get such results, literally 10x results in their business in as short of a time as 1.5 years. This video is going to be an absolute gem, especially if you have an existing business and if you want to scale it from multiple 5 figures to multiple 6 figures, then you're in for a treat. You're going to get some amazing insights for your business that you'll be able to implement as soon as today. And in case you're wondering who I am, and if you're new to this channel, my name is Nazim. I'm a marketing and sales consultant. In the last 10 years, I've made my clients over $40 million in sales, and Thorsten is just one of my clients I've helped. Without any further ado, I want to jump onto my share screen and draw out the entire mind map about the 3 key factors that I helped to nail in Thorsten's business and the 3 key factors that you have to keep in mind in your business as well if you want to scale. Let's dive in. Okay, let's talk about the 3 things I helped my client implement to go from $60,000 to over $600,000 per month in sales. The first thing was increasing client lifetime value. More specifically, I helped them to go from $5,000 to over $12,000 per customer lifetime value. And a quick note of warning, if you are running a service-based business, especially if you're selling high-ticket services, agency, coaching, consulting, even done for you SaaS, if you're selling anything like that and your client lifetime value is only $5,000, I would say you're in deep danger, because unless it costs you very little money to acquire clients. If it costs you less than $1,000 to acquire the $5,000 clients, then that's okay. But if it costs you thousands of dollars to acquire a client and all you make in the client's lifetime is only $5,000, you're in trouble. If it costs you $1,000 to $3,000 to acquire a client, which is what's typical in the high ticket sales space, then you have to be closer to $10,000 or even more than that to justify the CAC, the customer acquisition cost of multiples of thousands of dollars, right? So I helped them to basically increase the customer lifetime value, which allowed them to essentially spend more money on ads to advertise harder, more aggressively, outbid competitors, and still be at a very high profit margin. So that's number 1. Number 2 is I helped them with funnel tweaks. Now, the funnel they ran is a live webinar, right? So if you'd like to try live webinars, or if you're doing live webinar funnel, it doesn't work as well, I'll be showing you specifically our entire funnel and how it works in a second. And then number 3 is the sales process. I implemented some ninja tweaks to the sales process, which actually tightly correlate to the funnel. And the gist of this was that we managed to get the free webinar leads on more sales appointments. Right? So we managed to do that. Again, a little tweak I helped them make. If you'd like to know what that tweak is, then just stick around until the end of the video. So let's start with the point number 1, which is increasing client lifetime value. Now, the problem, again, with the business was that it was making too little money. When I came on board, they were making $5,000 per client ever, and they had 3 products. They had a product for $500, they had a product for $2,000, and they had a product for $5,000. Now, you would think that someone with 3 products would naturally make more money because they're selling more products. But no, because it doesn't really matter that you have many products. They need to make sense of this natural product ascension, and in their case, it did not, right? And not only that, not only the upsell rate from this to this was not high, it was quite low, but it also, these products stole away sales from the main thing, from the $5,000 product. So I think here they were getting 3 to 5 sales. Here maybe they were getting 2 to 3 sales per month. And not only did it not amount to anything, like if you do the math, this is barely $10,000 for both products. Not only that, but it also stole away from the $5,000 product, because people who would have bought the $5,000 product were essentially settling for the cheaper crap that, again, was not even that good because people didn't buy it, right? Now, what I helped them do is I came and in just 1 month, I completely removed these 2 products, and we essentially doubled down on the $5,000 product and made it a lot better. We beefed it up. And what we also did was we created a continuity program, which we would charge $1,000 per month for. Very easy to pay. And essentially, a lot of people, what happened was that a lot of people also came and were upsold from the main offer to the $1,000 per month offer. Like, I mean, like a lot, like literally in the dozens of percents. And we would sell this product typically in 6 to 12K contracts, right? For either 6 or 12 months. Sometimes we would make an exception and sell a trial for 3 months. But usually, a lot of people who bought this product were upsold. And we also later started selling to this product directly. We were selling into this product directly from sales calls, and it sold very well. So again, as a result, the biggest win in the first quarter was essentially going from 5K to 12.2K in client lifetime value. What it allowed us to do is to have a higher profit margin. It allowed us to spend more money on ads and marketing and outbid our competitors, right? Which meant we could go after more leads. And then, and that's it really. That's the two the most important points, right? The reason why you want to increase your customer lifetime value is to have a higher profit margin that then you can reinvest into higher ad spend and essentially give out more impressions, more views to your potential audiences. And even Frank Kern said that in the game of advertising, the business, or I think it was some other marketer, I don't know, one of them, he said that in the game of advertising and marketing, a business that can spend the most money will always win, right? Now, so that's secret number one, right? So again, if you are really struggling, if you can't scale your business and advertising doesn't seem to work, then actually the first thing I would look into is if you're actually making enough money from the client lifetime value so that you can reinvest back into advertising, right? I think the simple formula here is you want to make sure that whatever your CAC is, you're making 3 to 4 times as much in your customer lifetime value. So what that means is an example is if your CAC, again, stands for customer acquisition cost, is $2,000, you want to be making a minimum of, I would say, 7 to 8K customer lifetime value. And I mean bare minimum, right? In our case, I think our CAC was 2K-ish, or maybe even a bit less than that, and we would literally make 6 times that, right? So it's a rule of thumb, right? So whatever your CAC is, your customer lifetime value needs to be 6x of your CAC. So you can quote me on that. So then we talked about client lifetime value. Let's move on to funnel, right? What was about the funnel that we tweaked. And I think when it comes to the funnel, I will take over the remote and show you the entire funnel. The whole thing is in German, so let me translate it. And this is not a typical webinar. Our webinar was actually live. It was not a pre-recorded webinar that gives you 15 options, which also works. But this was an actual live webinar. The thing with with Thorsten, the business owner, is that he's immaculate in front of camera. He's a great marketer. He's one of the best ones I know. But he's like also really good on camera and on video, and he did not mind doing that once a week live webinar. Sometimes we tweaked with like 2 times a week, but even once a week was good. If you don't want to get on live webinars every week, though I think that's the best, that's okay. You can run a pre-recorded webinar. It works essentially half as well, right? So in my opinion, it has 50% less conversions, but you can literally run it any day, every day, almost instantly. So that makes up for it. But essentially, this was the webinar. I had them create a video, but we also mixed it with ad copy, with like good ad copy, because some people can watch the video, but for the rest, it's still important to add relevant bullet points and copy. We also promised them that was like one other idea that we made, is we promised them a gift for them to actually show up on the webinar. And this is how you fix. A lot of people say, hey, how do I fix the problem that people don't get on webinars? Well, you promise them a gift. You can even offer gifts for people to get on sales calls also. That's also like a ninja trick that you can do. And yeah, so the rest of the landing page is what it is, basically. In my opinion, I think since we stopped working with Torsten, I worked with them, I think about 2 years ago or so, and we worked for close to a year and a half, happy years. Since then, I think they beefed off the landing page. I think this is a bit too much. We when we were working, it only had 3 blocks. So you sign up for the thing, and then on the thank you page, one of the bigger tweaks again was we added a thank you page video, which again hyped up the webinar. This is the most important thing. And you should do a thank you page video not only when people sign up for your lead magnets, but also when they sign up for sales calls. Your biggest job is to hype them up and to show them that the thing is actually valuable, and it's not going to be a run-of-the-mill webinar, run-of-the-mill sales call where they're going to be shoved shit down their throat, right? That they're actually going to get great value from it. Now, and again, we're offering them a bonus, right? In this case, we're offering them, I think it was SOPs, some sort of SOPs. Yeah, funnel blueprints we offered them. And another ninja trick we did here is we asked people to opt in with their phone numbers to get SMS reminders about the webinar, because it was a live webinar again. And a lot of people did. I think 20 to 30% of people would leave their phone numbers, and we had literally hundreds of signups per each webinar, which meant that we had over 100 phone numbers, like legit valid phone numbers to call. And what we did was in the sales part, I'll talk about it, we called and we actually tried to sell the services to people who opted in for SMS reminder sequence. Obviously, there was a specific script that went in with that. We didn't just try to call them on the call, and we didn't try to just call them and sell them something, whatever. We first offered the gift, right, for them for signing up, and then we would strategically weave the conversation in the direction of their business and seeing if we can really help them or not. So this is essentially the funnel, right? The most important things I helped them implement was, again, let's go back to the drawing board. For the funnel tweaks, number 1, videos, right? Video for the thank you page, landing and thank you page, extremely important, right? Especially when it comes to expert-based businesses, people are buying from you. People are not buying from your business. People are buying from you as an expert. And I actually don't get coaches and consultants who are very adamant about not wanting to record videos. If you don't want to be an Instagram or TikTok star, then fine, though I think it helps. But you have to be able to record videos at will for the funnel, at least, right? So that's number 1. Number 2 is to figure out a way to get phone numbers, right? Phone numbers. And the phone numbers can be, the third one is a gift, so I don't forget. But back to phone numbers. The phone numbers, again, is a way to then get them on a sales call. And some ways you can get people's phone numbers is, again, either put it on the thank you page as a strategic, essentially like a strategic benefit, SMS reminders. I mean, look, 3 years ago, 3 years ago when we worked, it made sense. Maybe not so much. Maybe now I would also offer a gift in exchange for their phone number. That's also cool. Or you can embed it here on the landing page opt-in form. I don't probably recommend that, or I recommend making it optional because I do believe it will tank your conversion. So I would just recommend putting it on the thank you page and offering people a gift to go with that, which again, it takes me to point number 3, which is gifts. Make gifts or give gifts, and it will help you to increase attendance rate on the webinar or sales calls, and it'll actually help you to capture phone numbers. Okay, so that's number 2. That's the funnel. Now let's move on to number 3, which is the sales process. Now for the sales process, we fixed a couple of things. So sales process. For the sales process, number 1, we established very clear benchmarks and sales tracking. Before, they didn't have very good sales tracking. Now they did. And it wasn't a basic sales tracking. What we did was every week, the leadership got on on a meeting, right, a Zoom call, and I essentially helped them build what we called the Vitals KPI sheet. And the Vital KPI sheet was basically like essentially a call, a row or a row. Yeah. So it's essentially a row, like a Google Sheet row, and it had numbers in it, right? Now, the way the numbers worked was part of the numbers belonged to marketing, the first three, part of the numbers belonged to sales, and then the two numbers here at the bottom were business numbers, right? So it was CAC, and then it was profit, right? So CAC would always go back to both sales and marketing departments. And the way it did that is the way it went back to marketing was obviously by cost per lead or cost per call booked. And the way CAC, customer acquisition cost, went back to sales was the close rate or like the sales rate, right? And the reason why it makes sense, it's because if you think about it, CAC, the formula for CAC, customer acquisition cost, is actually very basic. CAC, the way it works is essentially you take a lead. Let's say if you're paying, I don't know, let's say $100 for a lead and you need 10 leads to get on a sales call. So let's say it's $1,000 CAC. You then basically multiply it by, or you divide it by, let's multiply because it's easier, and you multiply it by sales conversion rate. If your sales conversion rate is 33%, well, you have to multiply it by 3, which represents the sales conversion rate, because again, 100 divided by 33 is 3, and that's your CAC, $3,000, right? Now you might think, okay, well, how do I reduce CAC? Well, reducing CAC is very simple, and this is how it's attached to both marketing and sales. If you want to reduce it for marketing, well, then you essentially need to reduce your cost per lead. And if you want to attach it to sales, you have to increase your close rate. So again, you either reduce cost per lead or you increase your sales rate. It's as simple as that. And the reason why our tracking was cool was because the leadership would get on a team and then discuss these entire strings of numbers. And also the way I made the numbers work is they were essentially falling into two categories. They were either green or they were red. So red, and then some of them were rather green, and some of them were red, right? So essentially here maybe the opt-in rate was red, which meant that we had to work on the opt-in rate. And the green signs were, let's say, maybe cost per click or cost per 1,000 impressions. And in the sales, maybe the close rate was actually fine, but the attendance rate was low, right? Maybe attendance rate was low and the actual close rate was fine. So close rate was fine, but attendance was low. And because there were just very few people getting on sales calls, the entire close rate suffered because of that, right? So that's what we did with tracking. It wasn't just, oh, let's start tracking sales. Yeah, it was engineering the tracking in a way that it all looked as a part of one big revenue generating process, and then every stakeholder for marketing, sales had their word in it and also had their KPIs that they had to hit. And then number 2 was essentially figure out a way where we could figure out a way on how to get free leads back to sales calls. We siphoned free leads back to sales calls, right? And the way we did that is we would capture their phone number, let's say from the thank you page gift, right? This was like the ethical kind of like, what do you call it, gift. And then we would take them to a call. We would call them, right? We're not getting them on a sales call, right? We would call them. And on the call, what we would do is we would offer the gift, right? And then we would essentially take the conversation in the direction of a setting call. So what's a setting call? If you think about it, a setting call is essentially a vetting call to see if you can help a lead, and you ask very basic information gathering questions to the lead to ask them about their business and their pain points and their goals, and to determine if you can actually help the person. And the way the script would work is like this. We would say, hey, Peter, This is Nazim calling from Torsten's team. We noticed you signed up for a webinar, you attended it. Just wanted to call you and tell you that we just emailed you the webinar, the funnel blueprints. We promise you so much. Can you actually check your email and see if you got them? Whatever, Nick or Mark would check their emails and say, yeah, I got them. And then I would say, yeah, that's awesome. I'm happy we could help. What did you think about the webinar? Oh, it was good. Okay, I'm just wondering, why did you sign up for a webinar in the first place? Do you run a business? Yes, I do. Tell me a little bit about your business. Okay, what's the biggest bottleneck that has motivated you to sign up? Okay, what was the biggest takeaway from the webinar? We'll basically essentially set them for a sales call. And then we'll say, Nick, look, we sent you the webinar blueprints and you know that Torsten is the real deal. And from talking to you, I can see that I think we can try to help you on a more hands-on basis. I can set you up for a disco call, right? I'm not going to beat around the bush. On this call, what we're going to do is we're going to assess your business and then essentially tell you if we can help you or not, working on a more private individualized basis. But look, it's no strings attached. At the very least, you're going to get tons of value. Even if you don't want to work with us one-on-one, you're going to leave the call with tons of value. Would you like to do that? Yeah, okay, cool. So boom, we'll set them for a sales call, right? And then it's up to the salesperson to do the selling. Most people don't have this, guys. Most people don't have this. It may seem what I'm saying is basic sense, but most people do this. Let's say funnel, right? Webinar, and then they do sales call. If we just did that, we would get literally 30-40% fewer sales calls. And if you're wondering, just this tweak alone, 30-40% is a difference between, let's say making, I don't know, 100K and then 140K. But the problem is then the difference starts adding up, because we went all the way to 600K, which meant that without this process, we would be making maybe like 350 or 400K. It's a huge difference, right? And then there's also this multiplying effect. It's not just that, we made like 150K more money here or like 200K more. It's not just that. Because we're consistently making 30-40% more every month, it has a compounding effect, because every month you can reinvest more money into ads, more money into hiring great people, more money into your marketing, which then has an exponential positive effect on your growth, right? It's not just that, we were doing this and then at some point we made more, $150,000 more. It's every month, right? Therefore, it has a compounding effect. And that's it, guys. This is essentially what it took to take Torsten Kreutz from 60 to over $600,000 in sales. And just in case you don't believe what I say, you can go Nazim Consulting, Torsten Kreutz on YouTube, and get it straight from the horse's mouth, right? We recorded this video, like I said, 2 years ago, and we made $1.9 million in sales in one of the quarters. That's it, guys. Thanks for watching this video. And if you'd like to work with me, go to nazimconsulting.com and apply for a strategy session. And on this session, I'm going to audit your business and ask you key questions to see if I can help you and what are your biggest levers for growth. And if I can help, then I'll offer to help you. And then it's up to you if you want to do it or not. Thanks for watching this video again. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.